The Manage Learning screen shows the primary tasks any manager, such as a manager, coach or trainer, needs to carry out in order to ensure the successful management of all tasks associated with a timely delivery of learning. First, we'll look at Check Progress. This is where we can check the progress of any learners in the system. We can check progress in a number of ways. If we are running programs of learning, we can view the data by programs. This is a top-level view of the data, i.e. learning programs will usually contain a stack of connected learning resources, such as e-learning, YouTube videos, classroom courses, etc. Programs are delivered over a long period of time to give an overall qualification. An example would be an apprenticeship or the training necessary to do a new job or gain a promotion. We can view summary data on the screen here. Moving along each row, we can see details of the learner, the program of learning they are on, and details about their status, such as time spent, time behind, days since they last updated the learning, etc. Using this, we can use the filters and sorting at the top of the table to identify data that concerns us. Now, if we want to take a more deep dive view of our learners, we change the view to View by Learning Resource. Here we can see the data for each unit of learning. You can see here we have e-learning, YouTube, classroom courses, etc. We can use this to filter by an individual learning resource. Say we want to see anyone who hasn't completed induction training for a classroom training session that is coming up, etc. Here we can filter that prerequisite training and select a status of not attempted, for instance, and email all those people to whom that filter applies, telling them to hurry up and do the training. The last view is by employee. Here we get a more holistic view of a learner's progress across a number of different programs of learning. So we can see the number of days since we last made contact with the learner, total time spent learning, and the percentage of all learning resources in their learning programs that they have completed. This really gives us a good understanding of how the individual is learning across the board. With any learner, we also have the option to drill down into their learning record to get a more detailed view of that learner. Okay, the first option, if you have appropriate permissions, is you can edit the person's record or assign managers to be responsible for this person here. Also, we can see his overall status. For instance, has this person started using the system? We also have a chat and call button linked to our messaging system. You may not see this if your messaging system is not linked or the person has not entered their appropriate contact details. Below this, we can opt to add learning to the learner. Should we need to assign any learning resources from our library to this person, we can click here. Note, you will need to add it to whatever part of the program this learning applies. This will allow the learning to filter the appropriate information accordingly when looking back through their learning portfolio. We can add an expected completion date if we want to. Adding evidence works in a very similar way. If we want to add any work the learner has done, which can count towards their learning, then we can do so here. Learning does not take place just in the classroom. Any work, reports, videos, etc. can be added to their learning portfolio to evidence learning. Finally, regular reviews can be scheduled with the learner. Some programs of learning will have regular reviews automatically scheduled, but you can add any ad hoc review of the learner by entering details here. Scrolling down the screen further, here we have a leaderboard. This gamification feature allows learners to compete against each other. The top 10 people are displayed along with the learner's score and their ranking. Points are given for completing learning resources. This is a fun way to encourage learning amongst your learner population. At the bottom of the screen, we have details of the learning programs the learner is currently on. We can drill down again into each program, and here we have a list of all the learning resources assigned to that program. If we want, we can have a look at the program and immediately see the parts of the program the learner is struggling with, denoted by red bars in this case. Orange means work is progressing, as expected, and blue means well ahead of schedule. We can drill down into each element and see how learning resources are progressing there too. We can even drill down into individual learning resources themselves and have a look at that resource. So that's how we can review data in the system, checking on our learners from the macro level down to an individual learning resource. Meetings. Meeting requests from learners requiring assistance are listed in this table. These need to be approved prior to entering the diary. Accessible from the diary icon in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Sign-off. Learning and uploads which require management sign-off are listed here. Using an education analogy, this is where a teacher would mark or check homework. Some learning of courses will be signed off without any intervention if it is tracked automatically, examples being e-learning and YouTube video content. If, however, a manual sign-off is necessary, then the item needs to be approved by opening the item. You can add a comment, grade, etc., and then sign the learning resource off as completed, and it will no longer appear on the sign-off list. Approve or manage bookings. Bookings are managed here. These are requests made by learners to carry out approved training on a certain date. Dependent on other commitments, the manager can select to either approve or reject the proposed booking.